game number 2. Cats is ahead 1-0 so far in this series. Thanks for tuning in to the Root Success Pays Invitational. Take a look at all the list of our sponsors over there on the overlay. Nation Voice, Kingston, Justin TV, Nerd Stomper, and do please visit our website, root-gaming.com. There once again are $1,200 on the line for the players. Every win will award them some amount of money, increasing as they go. So Cats has a pretty good head start on this series, up 1-0 so far. We see Jimmy's going to be the purple Terran in the bottom left-hand corner. Cat's going to be once again the teal Zerg in the bottom right. We've got horizontal spawns instead of the cross position, slightly closer, and the back door will be in play. We don't see that too much on this map.
Yeah, no, one advantage, and I noticed a lot from the GSL matches, truthfully, is the Terran do like to take a little bit shorter distance here on the Zerg. Letting the Zerg free expand to the northeastern part of the map there is very difficult to come back from. Zerg can obviously amass a huge number of Banelings, Mutilis kind of thing there. That's very deadly to the play that Jimmy was showing last game anyway, so we'll see if he has another strategy in place here, if he's just going to strictly play more conventional Terran, tank, marine, medevac, but we're hoping to see something a little different as Cats is scouting in the correct direction, of course, with his Overlord, so he will reach Jimmy's base first. We'll see if Jimmy gets a look at that rogue Overlord floating through the happy face on the southern part of the map. Cats looking like he is going to get onto an expansion there. I would assume, given the size of this map, he would open with a hatchery, but Pools is a safe opening too, so we'll see which way Cats goes, because he's going to want to make sure he does stay ahead here. Going into an ace match is not really the funnest thing, especially when you come back from such a great push there in the first game.
Well, you know, especially since you're on one of the maps that you probably wind up choosing anyways. What happened to Jimmy last game is just the basic classic downfall of Marine Tank versus Zerg. It's a really good build, but if you wait too long to move out, then the Zerg's macro just gets out of control and he gets steamrolled. When you go Marine Tank, Medevac versus a Zerg player, you're always just playing that gambling game of hitting them at the exact right moment. That means you need to be scouting really well. You need to know exactly what your opponent's doing. He was getting a good amount of scouting with that medevac that was flying around constantly last game. So it's a little surprising that he did miss that window, because normally he would have gotten a really good look and have a good idea when he should be moving out, but he just waited slightly too long, and you can see that Cats was able to just run him over off of five hatches. So this time we do see another Reaper coming up, but since, you know, these positions are a little bit longer and his SCV isn't quite in position, I would not expect to see another bunker. That's probably not going to work twice anyways. So this Reaper is probably just going to be jumping around, getting some scouting information, maybe picking off a drone or two, and then he'll continue along his build. And the other thing is, not building as many Reapers will mean he'll be able to get that factory up a little bit faster and move along his tech path a little quicker as well, because at 50 gas each, they are a pretty significant delay to your tech.
Absolutely, and Jimmy's going to open up with a command center here, actually. So he has his second supply just finished. There's a 19 command center. He is going to get onto marine production, so it's going to be safer, as you mentioned. The SCV is escorting the Reaper up to the high ground here. If he goes to a bunker now, I'd be very, very surprised, given the effectiveness in which Catch did fire that off, as he is going to throw down the bunker, actually. So working on the spine crawler, it is going to get finished, it looks like, as the Reaper is pulled back away from the drones. Reaper's going to take some pot shots here, collecting one drone kill, but not going to be able to come up. Oh, one more drone kill, actually, on the low ground there. Bunker is cancelled. Reaper makes it out with 2 kills, so SCV is lost. So pretty much even trades there. 2 drones for a recycled bunker and an SCV. Jimmy's going to pull that Reaper away, as the spine crawler did get finished up there. Spine crawler going to push forwards, and Cats is going to begin his droning action. So this is the time in any Zerg's life where they feel the safest, knowing that the Reaper opening was there. He's not going to have a lot of racks. Knowing that he pushed off the bunker, he does not have to get as many Zerglings out. So Cats is going to take the next few minutes and just get as many drones as Zerglingly possible, and just see how much of an economy he can build up here. Look for Cats to actually probably, I would say, take a third base even here. Given the size of this map, the favor of it for Zerg, sometimes a third base expansion here, knowing that you're going to be facing, again, a pretty slowed down Terran push, is not a bad idea if you can sneak that hatchery in, as KatZ is getting his watchtowers. So setting up map control also very important for the Zerg. Orbital command is finished for Jimmy. He's going to train some SCVs on the high ground. Curious. He did this last game. I guess he doesn't have enough. Doesn't feel safe enough getting onto the low ground. KatZ will scout the factory wall. The hub will see the siege tanks. So more than enough information for KatZ, and he's going to pull back.
This could be a little bit dangerous for KatZ, though, because seeing that, he might actually think that Jimmy's on one base. I mean, he saw 3 barracks and a factory with tanks out already. Did not see that orbital command, had not actually successfully scouted that at any previous point. He hasn't seen that barracks that floated out, but the orbital command is just about to fly over and try and crush the Zerglings. So he will now be aware of the fact that his opponent did in fact expand, but you can see that in the meantime, in that little bit of uncertain period, KatZ did crank out some Zerglings because he wasn't entirely sure. KatZ is really good about making those assessments and making as many drones as he possibly can. You can see him switching back over to drones now that he sees that his opponent has expanded, because he's going to feel relatively safe, dropping some tech structures, getting upgrades from these evolution chambers, just generally progressing through his build rather nicely. If you look at the worker count, it's 38 as drones to the 30 SCVs, and that lead should keep climbing for KatZ, especially since Jimmy is still sitting in a very defensive posture here at his natural. If he sees the lineup of these buildings, that means that Jimmy has to actually completely lift off one of these barracks to move out. So it means he's not going to be doing that anytime soon, and especially with Mutalisks on the way, he's going to have a pretty free time droning up, as he'll be keeping Jimmy in his base for a little while anyways.
Yeah, KatZ has a drone moving up into basically that looks like the natural hero. He'll take the noon, the 2 o'clock expansion here. So he will get onto his third base, which is a very good progression for the Zerg. KatZ has got to be feeling pretty good about this, knowing that Jimmy has walled himself in as best he can, knowing siege tank and bio is on the menu again. KatZ is able to progress completely along any path he feels necessary. He is going to get 1-1 for his Zergling Banelings. No Baneling Nest just yet, unless I missed it. Nope, no Baneling Nest just yet. So it looks like Spire is going to come first. So perhaps he's going to be trying to harass a little bit here and just get Mutalisks or get right onto Broodlords or something crazy like that. But we'll see if he can actually hold this, as Jimmy's massing up pretty good here. The Marines are very effective against Mutalisks, and with just Zerglings out, no Banelings, I'm kind of a little sketchy on that, so hopefully KatZ has an answer for that. There are a lot of Marines coming out, as you can see. There's 2 reactor. Even the Tech Lab barracks is producing Marines, of course, so lots of Marine tank. Medivacs should be coming very, very shortly for Jimmy. This starport just completed. Another barracks with reactors going down, so he'll be on 4 racks, 3 reactors, so lots of Marines to deal with. These Mutalisks won't be a problem, but we'll see if Jimmy, or sorry, not Jimmy, but KatZ actually, because I don't know if he missed the Baneling Nest or he has another plan for these, how to deal with these Marines here.
He's probably just delaying because of these mutas. He's not going to be able to make too many Banelings anyways. If you look at Jimmy's base, he also walled off the back door and put a turret here, but there's no other turrets anywhere else. So since all of the Marines are here in the natural, KatZ will be able to swing into the main and do a pretty significant amount of damage. The architecture on this map means the mutas can swing between these bases rather effectively. He'll probably be able to make Jimmy have to build more turrets. So if he does a good job with these Mutalisks, then he's going to force Jimmy into having to spend more money on missile turrets. You can see he does poke in here with these mutas, and basically Jimmy has his turrets positioned in a really odd position, trying to keep him from ever entering his base, but there are big enough holes for those mutas to get in, and once they're in, his mineral lines are completely unprotected, so he's now dropping extra turrets near his mineral lines, as is probably a really good decision for him. But he really should be thinking about moving out soon. Maybe get a couple more turrets up, maybe leave a couple Marines behind, but he's hitting that point where his army is really strong and he needs to start doing something with it, or else KatZ is going to start getting out of control again like he did in the previous game.
KatZ is doing a really good job of continuing to get ahead. He's getting onto 2/2 upgrades, plus 1 attack for the Mutalisk as well, so pretty strong. And it looks like Jimmy is actually going to go for the back door here. KatZ doesn't really have anything specifically set, and Zerg do not want to engage the Terran in this more narrow hallways. They want to fight in the open of the map, so we'll see if he has an answer to this. Still no Banelings or Roaches or anything yet. 4th base started for KatZ in the 2 o'clock expansion, or 2 o'clock main. KatZ does see that. He does lose an Overlord. He is going to move all those Zerglings back, but again, only Zerglings and Mutalisk on the map right now. Only the thing that KatZ can build right now based on his tech structure, so he's going to have a pretty tough time breaking a Marine Ball of this size, given Stim. Medivac starting to get into the fray here. Siege Tank's not really going to be super effective against Zerglings or anything like that. Possibly expecting Banelings, and Jimmy's going to get up in here and set up on KatZ. He's definitely going to achieve positioning. He cannot push those Zerglings into those Siege Tanks at any time soon. He's got to be very careful at the angle he engages. Burns a Stim from Jimmy, and really good.
Nice. Go ahead. Nice job by KatZ actually picking off a Siege Tank, almost getting another one down into the red, another one about half health. And that's basically enough to force Jimmy to have to pull back all of his Marines to defend those Siege Tanks, slowing down that push and allowing him to get more and more units out. If you look at the supply, KatZ is ahead, and he's producing just a ridiculous number of mutas and Zerglings. So if he can keep slowing this down just by little bits, while he produces more and more units. Oh, nice job getting the Zerglings in on that tank so that they blow up their friend. There's not that many tanks left. One of them's really low, but he will lose his lair. Looks like KatZ is going to go for it. Zergling's getting into contact with the Marines. Actually withdrawing when he was in a decent position to make the Siege Tanks blow up his own forces. He might have given up his only opportunity to stop that push there.
Yeah, KatZ is, I think, not even attacking these Marines. He's just walking the Zerglings into them, letting the tanks do friendly fire. You can see the tanks have picked up quite a few kills, but I'm sure half of those have been friendly fire on their own Marines, so the Siege Tanks are spiteful bastards taking out their own army like that. The Zerglings really did almost no damage. The Siege Tanks killed most of his Marines, so KatZ is going to lose his lair, as well as his spawning pool. No other critical tech here, so not too bad of a way right now. Spire is still available. More Mutalisk coming out. He's got Mutalisk crossing through the center of the map, taking out the reinforcements for Jimmy, so very good way to cut in there, lower the Terran's ability to fight in his own natural there. Lots of Mutalisk traded, sorry, though, for those cheap Marines, so hopefully Jimmy has a backup plan. The one thing I note about Jimmy, though, this is kind of an all-any thing here. He's got another command center started, but he's giving up a lot of ground here to be able to poke through this back door. You can see KatZ is already getting onto that 5th, now his 4th base in the northern natural there, outside in the middle. So sieging on the high ground, KatZ is going to slowly start trading bases here, but if he can stay ahead of the curve, he's going to be able to push Jimmy back ideally, and be able to try to counter this out as more Mutalisk harassing the reinforcement line from Jimmy.
One problem is, though, KatZ did not actually manage to drop that Spire before the layer went down. Very important in these situations when you're trying to just give up your main, is to get your tech down in other positions before you lose the requirements for it. So you can see he does actually have to rebuild his spawning pool, wait on that, make a layer, wait on that, and then be able to make a Spire. So he's not really going to be able to make more Mutalisks. He's going to have to switch over to Roaches and Banelings. And Jimmy is actually just finishing up an armory. I saw it somewhere. Where did it go? Yeah, there it is. So he will be making some Thors, probably anticipating more Mutalisks, but there's not really going to be any more Mutalisks on the field anytime soon. Just the ones that are currently on the map, putting some pressure on his command center. So KatZ really needs to get a Roach Warren or a Baneling Nest or something, but all of Mutalisks going down AFK to those Marines. Really brutal, seeing as he cannot rebuild any of them at all. He's relying just basically on this mass Zergling strategy to clear out these remaining forces and keep them from pushing up in the upper portion of the map. But Jimmy is looking like he's in a pretty good position right now, partially because KatZ didn't manage to get that tech down before he lost his lair.
KatZ playing catch-up here, as he does have the layer finished now. No Spire started just yet. Is that it? There it is. Yeah, so the Spire again in a very awkward position. As this is kind of the forward base again with the layer there for KatZ. Jimmy, he needs to stay on the aggressive foot, though. He is pulling back. It's curious. I guess he's checking the southern expansion there to make sure. Should just be using a medivac to do these checks, but Jimmy needs to keep leapfrogging forward, keep the aggression up. He lost last time because he had a huge aggressive lead and then slowly allowed the Zerg to get back into it. These Zerglings are trapped, so He's going to pull them, bait them back into the siege tank line. They're going to stand beside the siege tank. Lots of damage being done to the Marines again, but they are this time in the huge number victory. We are going to the 75-55, and KatZ knows when he's done, and there's a good game.
Yeah, so well played there by Jimmy. KatZ just not quite getting the tech up that he needed in time, playing a little bit too greedy. So we are going to be moving on to a game number